So today's topic is how to warm up your voice. So our voices tend to, they get used to a certain range of notes. And usually, if we're not singing a lot, the range of notes that we're used to is our speaking range. So you can hear that my voice does go up and down a little when I'm speaking. I even went, and you can hear, da, da, da. It's a little bit higher than my rest of my voice because I was, the way that I was saying it was animated. And some accents have a more animated way of speaking, and they're going to have more notes in that speaking range of notes. Then that's where you're comfortable, okay? When we start to sing, most songs are going to, challenge us at either end of that range. So there might be notes that are a bit lower than your normal speaking voice or higher than your normal speaking voice. So it's important that we start to expand our range, expand the numbers of notes that we have access to. And the most systematic way to do that is using warm-ups. Now, you do warm up your voice somewhat when you sing a song. By the end of the song, it feels easier than it was at the beginning, right? But you don't improve the tone of your voice, or you're not exercising the muscles, ligaments, and tendons in a systematic way singing songs. So you might find that, if you're doing warm-ups regularly, that you sing every song better, that you learn songs faster, and that you can take on high and low notes with a lot more ease. And unfortunately, if you only warm up by singing songs, it's a little bit more difficult to kind of get that ease into songs. So systematic warming up is really important. Today, I'm going to talk about very simple warm-ups, and I'm going to ask you just to copy what I say. All right? Good. Whew. Yeah, a little sigh. This is what I recommend for all my students. For me, because I'm talking and, I'm trying to keep all of your attention in here. What happens is our body gets a little bit tight. The tummy muscles tighten up. So for me, it's really, really good for me to sigh, reset before I start making my warm-up sounds. So try it with me. Okay, just let your tummy hang out a little like that. Again. Good. So just copy what I do. Good. So that's kind of low, high, low, high. So it's like falling down. Now reach a little higher and fall down from a higher note. Now most people who don't sing a lot will notice that they struggle to hit a high note like that, to kind of reach for it and to be very accurate on it, and that's quite normal. So just try it with me. Go to a note that feels comfortable for you today, and don't judge yourself. This is just fun. Just games that are going to warm up your voice. Try and relax your tummy then at the end. Now, try and notice what you feel within the bones of the head and the feelings of the face, in the cheeks, the nose. What kind of vibrations do you notice as we're making these humming sounds? You starting to feel it? So what happens is the way that you produce your sound is different when you're in your speaking level versus in your higher notes and in your higher head, they call it head voice. And it actually feels like it's up here in your head. You can feel in your eyes almost like a little like vibration. And when I'm doing the lower ones, I can feel them more in my mouth area. I can feel a little bit of a vibration above my lip. Try that. Wonderful. Now, when you start to become more aware of how sound feels, it becomes an awful lot easier to stay in tune. Because we're not just relying on what we can hear outside of our head. We're starting to get what they call a kinesthetic, which is a feeling, a sense of what sound is doing, how our sound feels within our body. So just try that again. Now we're going to do low to high quite slowly. So it sounds like a car speeding up on a racetrack far away. Listen once and then join in. Now while we're doing this, try and feel the vibration in your head. Ready? A little sigh. Did you notice it? I'm going to point to where I feel it. Really good. So really important to practice these sounds where we're kind of swooping from low to high, like a car speeding up, and then high to low, which sounds more like something falling from the sky. So this will be a little bit trickier because we're reaching for a high note, and if you're not singing a lot, those high notes won't be as easy to access. So swoop up with me and then come down as slowly as you can, listening carefully to everything that you hear, trying to make this vibration shift only by tiny, tiny, tiny degrees as you come down. This is an ear training practice as well. We're going to talk a lot more about ears, your ear training, and kind of how we hear tomorrow in day 3. So some of you might notice a kind of a flip feeling when you move from the higher to the lower ranges, like a point where your voice doesn't really know how to change, because it does change, okay? It's a different feeling within the larynx on the high notes and the low notes. So when we're going through it this time, do it a little slower, listen more carefully, and see if you can move into the different movement, the different feeling for the lower notes a little early, like anticipating that you have to change over in terms of the way that you're doing it. So we're going to swoop up and come down really slowly. Very good. So there is a certain amount of breath control needed. We don't need you to use a lot of air for this. So the danger is what you'll do is, and you're pushing. You can feel it in the neck. Okay, if that's you, try and pull back the air, bring the air towards you. Don't push it forward. Use less air. So think of maybe using, if what you were doing was 100%, now do 20%. Okay. One last time, using less air this time, and to control the air as it comes down, you're going to use your torso by having good posture. So a little sigh. You might want to breathe in wide into the body. There you go. And now. Very good. So I hope that helps some of you. The breathing part is very important. It's not really strongly related to staying in tune, but it's really important for singing in general. That's a whole nother challenge, the how to breathe properly for singing challenge. We'll have to think about that. I put it in the into the comments if that's something that you really want me to do for you. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the checklist that we have for you later. You remember that your voice is an instrument, right? And it genuinely needs to be treated with care, okay? Just the way a guitar in the corner of the room will gather dust and the strings will stop sounding like they're in the right key and they're not tuned up well. Things just start to break down with lack of use. So we need to use the voice often and regularly to get the right kind of sound, or a more consistent sound. Doing these warm-ups are going to extend your range so that you can hit higher and lower notes. They're going to make you more accurate as well. I'm just glancing over to my notes over here. And they're going to help your ear. Now tomorrow we're going to talk a lot more about your ear, how you hear sounds. What do you notice? Do you notice, are they going higher or lower? And then, excuse me, please don't give me a coughing fit. Oh dear. Sorry about that, guys. Back to what I was saying. So the humming, we've just done a lot of humming. That is my #1 top tip warm-up for especially beginner singers. But there is another one that's very, very similar, where you would use the same sounds. So you'd go high to low, low to high, but instead of humming, you're doing a sound that sounds like the NG at the end of the word sing. So it's the sing, It's not the no, there's no I in it. It's just the N and the G. Okay? Sing, sing, So say sing a few times. Sing, sing. Now, your tongue position is important for this. We don't want the tongue to be far back. If you say sung, like she sung a song yesterday, sung, you'll feel your tongue quite far back. Keep your tongue a little forward, because when the tongue is further back, it's blocking the sound from being released. So sing, tongue forward, sing. And so we're doing similar sounds to what we just did. Sing, sing, sing. And the NG is far more gentle on your vocal folds. Vocal cords, sometimes they're called, vocal folds. It is more gentle, and it's really, really good to use that, especially if you're a little bit croaky or tired, or you've had a cold or anything like that. And it would be my preference. So if I was practicing, I probably would use the NG sound more than the humming. So just try it again. Sing, 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 sing. And a nice exercise to do with the NG is a siren that sounds a little like an ambulance, right? So it's a, and then try a low one of that. Good. And then a high one. And try really high. Take a sigh first. Very good. Very, very good. So those are the way to really warm up your voice, the simplest type of warm-ups you can do. Now, when you move on from that, when you're singing more regularly, you can use other sounds to warm up with. And there's lots of really great warm-ups online. I have a warm-up online as well, that if you get the email for today's class, you will get access to that warm-up, and I'll post it as well for you so that you can have access to that. So it's kind of a full warm-up with a postural warm-up, you know, relaxing the shoulders, and then some of these kinds of sounds, and then more of the kind of what they call scale movement sounds. So they'd be like that kind of a sound, but using a word like ning, 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 or nay, 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 nay. And those kinds of warm-ups are absolutely brilliant, because you're using the shapes of words, ning, so like sing and nay. So all of these different shapes that our mouth can make are really important to practice, because we get to a certain word in a song and suddenly our voice is not working, or it doesn't sound good anymore. That's a lot to do with what the word we're saying is and the level that it's at. So it might be easy to say I on a low note, I, but if I was to do I on a high note, I, yeah, it starts to sound a bit shrieky, because of that vowel on that height of a note can feel a little bit more difficult. And that's why using the kind of more specific warm-ups on scales with different words or sounds that exercise your mouth position, exercise your neck position, are very, very useful. So that's more advanced style. So there's some other ones though that are quite easy. So we're going to try this one. We're going to relax the tummy with a sigh. Remember that we're making sure that we're not tensing up the tummy because that affects our breathing. So a little sigh. Good. And now whoop, whoop. So W-H-O-O-P. Whoop. Like whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah. So we're going to do a slow one. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Just do it to the level that feels comfortable for your voice. Whoop, woo. Try the woo. Woo. Very good. And relax the tummy with a sigh in between. Good. Woo. Very good. Woo. Very good. Relax that tummy. What we don't want is a lot of air behind any of these ones. We don't want woo. No. No. Please. We do not need a lot of air to make a sound. We do not need very much air to make sound. We do not need very much air to sing. We need less air than most people realize. So I really want to advise you, relax that tummy with a sigh and just use whatever air is already there. You might take a little sneaky extra breath, but don't ever do this. Okay? And now, once we've gotten into a habit of doing that, or having a kind of a more active in breath, it becomes very difficult to take that out again. But this is something that I cover a little bit more in my group classes. You know, I do group classes on Tuesdays and Wednesdays on Zoom. So definitely like join up with something so that I can help you through that if you're having difficulty with the breathing side. It takes a good few weeks to get out of that habit. So for you right now, instead of taking this and then going woo, which you're going to feel tense in the neck and tense in the chest, try sighing and then go straight in woo. Like don't even take an in breath. Little sigh woo. You can see that I'm not even taking an in breath. Little sigh woo. And there's enough air after sighing to make a nice big woo sound. And you need to start to trust that you don't need a lot of air to make those sounds. Ready again, little sigh. We do wee this time, okay? Listen once and then join in. So I'm relaxing with a sigh. Wee. Good, relaxing with a sigh. Wee. Good. Now this time, put your hands on your tummy where your rib cage meets kind of the lower body. And notice how your diaphragm and your abdominal area supports you making this quite a loud sound by controlling the air. So we're still sighing. We're not taking this massive in-breath. We're sighing. And then whee! And just feel the tummy kind of activate. Okay, ready? And it's that activation that really helps us with breath flow as it comes out when we sing. So we want the tummy to have a little bit of activation. We don't need it to push, no. We need it to activate. It's really, really important. I know I'm not covering breath a lot in this week, but I'm happy to do something for you, and definitely message me if you want specific help on that. I'll get you into the group classes. Okay, so a sigh, hands on the tummy, feel the activation as you do. Whee! Very, very good. Okay, another thing about the wee sound is it's creating a nice shape inside the mouth. Now the W does that as well. When we do whoop, whoop, see the way that my mouth is kind of opening, whoop, whoop, that kind of, it's like creating this cave or cavern effect within the mouth. Whoop, whoop, and then when we do whee, you'll feel, and try not to smile too much into it, whee, you'll feel the roof of your mouth rising. Try that. Whee! And we're going to cover the position of the roof of your mouth and everything on the day 4 of this challenge, which will be all about postural stuff. Okay, so I hope that's been interesting for you all. We covered the basics of warm-ups today. One thing I would say to you, if you are looking up warm-ups in general online or anything, pay attention to your posture and do some of your warm-ups just paying attention to your posture. Yeah, maybe it'll be where your chin is. I'm covering all this on Thursday. But then when you go back, then listen more carefully. What's happening with my sound? How does this sound? Maybe lie on the floor and do your warm-ups, because that can be really good for the alignment. So take your time with warm-ups. Don't rush them. Don't try and do them while you're doing other things. And be careful, because if you are in the car and you tend to sing in the car, we all slouch a little bit in the car, you know, and the chin kind of juts forward. And really, really important for you, to improve your voice, that you have good posture while you're doing your warm-ups, and that you're aware of that. And there's a lot of really, really cool tips to do with posture that I will be covering. So I hope you will be able to tune into that. So really, really good. Thank you so much. It's lovely to see you. Coco, Judy, lovely to see you there from the very beginning. Grania, and Lisa, and Jackie. Absolute pleasure to have you watching live. And thank you all if you're watching the replay as well. It's my pleasure, and get in touch with me if you'd like any extra help. And please, you know, invite your friends to join this Facebook group, the Secret Singers group. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. And look out for more videos like this.